Hi, I'm Junaid, and I'm here with my co-host Jess. Welcome to Can I Just Qualify That? We're doing something a bit different today. We've come to you live from a wonderful library here at Chase Terrace Academy in Staffordshire, where students have been opening their results.
And joining us today are two people with different views on today's results. So we're joined by Ofqual's Deputy Chief Regulator, Michael Hanton, who will be able to zoom out and talk about the trends and the national picture for results today. And Mike Donoghue, who is the CEO of the John Taylor Multi-Academy Trust, of which Chase Terrace Academy is a part of. And John, you've been watching this story unfold today in real time with your students.
Yes, it's been fabulous to be able to join staff and students and parents here today.
Brilliant.
There's been a real palpable sense of enthusiasm and energy.
Well, on that, take us into the room. What's the mood been like?
It's been one of some trepidation as students have been coming in. You know, we all remember our own exam results. There's been an enormous amount of energy, passion, and work by the students themselves and those who've supported them. That's obviously their teachers, but also pastoral staff and school leaders and their parents and friends, of course. And so it's for many, it's considered to be a defining moment for them. So you know, the stakes are very high when it comes to the qualifications, and however much you try and temper that sense of expectation with them, it is going to be a challenging day. But for the overwhelming majority, it's been a really positive day.
Great news, and
That's
congratulations.
great to hear. So could you tell us a bit more about the results and what your students have achieved today?
So the students here take, a majority of them will take A-level courses, but a significant proportion will also take applied general or other vocational courses as well. And a large number will take a hybrid curriculum provision of both academic and the vocational offer. And so that really equips them well for a range of opportunities post 18, whether that's apprenticeships or whether that's employment or whether that's, as the majority will find here, going into higher education. So that range of qualifications has been really important for them over the last 2 years.
Yeah, brilliant to celebrate all types of different qualifications.
Absolutely. And this school does that exceptionally well.
Great. So, Michael, teachers will now have a good idea of how well their own school and colleges have done. What would you say are the most interesting headlines, sort of taking a step back from a national picture in terms of A-levels this year?
Yeah, thanks, Junaid. First, let me just say thank you to Mike and everyone here at Chase Terrace Academy. It's been wonderful to be here. Really just remembering what today is all about and the students getting their results, the kind of the excitement of that and hearing the stories has been really, really wonderful. If we kind of zoom back, so what we're talking about today is 840,000 A-levels that students have received today.
Yeah.
And the kind of picture nationally is one of stability. So if you look at the results picture overall, the kind of proportion of students getting each grade, they vary a tiny bit each year. It's a really small variation.
Okay.
So there are more A-levels this year, so that's also a positive story. Things like maths. So now we're at a point where 1 in 8 of all the A-levels achieved today is in maths. Think about the kind of future of our economy, so AI, engineering, science.
Yep.
That's a really fantastic picture.
Absolutely.
So great to see some really strong performance in maths as well.
Indeed. And speaking as an ex-maths teacher, I just want to big that up. That's great news from my perspective.
Thank you. That's so helpful to get that overview. Could you tell us a bit more about the vocational and technical picture, including T-levels?
Yeah, right, absolutely. So yes, 840,000 A-levels, 220,000 vocational qualifications as well. They're the kind of core vocational routes. And if we look even more specifically within that, nearly 20,000 students today got a T-level. Now, T-levels, they're these really high quality, demanding qualifications designed with employers. And they're equipping students to go either direct into the workplace, including having experienced a 40-day work experience placement as part of their T-level, or into university. And we've got new T-levels being awarded today as well, which is exciting. So things like animal care, digital production, so maybe some new podcast hosts coming through.
Competition,
and things like craft and design as well. So really practical qualifications. And then, as Mike was saying, students here getting vocational qualifications, so things like health and social care, business admin, And I was talking to a student here this morning who's using exactly those kind of qualifications to go straight on to university and take their next step.
That's really good. Mike, what sorts of conversations have your staff been having with students this morning, and will they be having in the days ahead? What's next? What are the next destinations for your students?
Yeah, I mean, I think those conversations are so important that they happen as soon after students learn of the outcomes as possible. And those conversations obviously vary depending on how the student has achieved compared to what they were expected to achieve and what they hope to achieve. And so those conversations are that along the lines of if the way forward for them is still clear. So if they achieved sufficiently well or better to carry on with the route that they'd intended to, then there may be some administration that they need to require in terms of firming up places and all of those next steps that are associated with that. So everybody really requires a conversation, Junaid, even those that have achieved what they hoped and what they'd expected.
They'll value that, especially with a trusted individual like their teachers. That's something I remember. This is the time at which those relationships really shine, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, for those students, definitionally, this is their first time through. But for the teachers and the support staff that work with them and the leaders in the school, it's not their first rodeo by any stretch when it comes to this. So for those students, those conversations are about making sure that those next steps that they have to follow, which are very clear for them, they actually undertake those. For some of those students where their results have not been as they would have expected, then the conversation is how do we secure a picture of clarity moving forward when there may be uncertainty. And that's where holding their hand on the journey is really important, thinking about what they have achieved, celebrating that, and recognizing that there is always a next step. There is always a way forward. It may not be the one that they'd thought they were going to pursue. It may not be the one that they'd hoped to pursue, but there is always a next step. And the support from parents and friends here in the community and the school staff, it's really important for those young people to make sure that defining moment that didn't quite define them in the way that they perhaps had expected or hoped is still a defining moment in a positive sense for them, that they can look back and think, actually, this was the right thing for me, this was the right next step for me.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike. As you said, today is all about celebrating students, but of course it's a big day for your school teachers as well. So how are they feeling?
They see this. They feel the emotion that the students and their parents also exhibit today. They've invested an enormous amount of energy and expertise above and beyond the paid hours that you would expect,
and over many years as well.
Over many years, and whilst of course the dynamic is around the last 2 years of that study for the subject teachers. We've had today in school, we've had a whole number of teachers who haven't taught the students in the post-16 setting, but maybe have taught them previously. And the post-16 provision is built on the successes, the skills, the attributes, the knowledge that has come earlier. And we've also had a number of support staff who, of course, aren't directly held accountable for those outcomes, but they feel part and they feel invested in supporting those students through in terms of their pastoral support and their care. And the age of 16 to 18 is a very changeable time in life. And often young people require some pastoral support and some care. And that means that our staff, whether they're teaching or support staff, are really invested in those young people. And they wanted to be here today.
Brilliant. Thank you. Michael, teachers may have students that are concerned about a particular grade that maybe doesn't look right to them. What do you advise them to do? What should they do?
Yeah, really good question. So again, just sort of zooming back to that national picture, if you take A-levels and GCSEs to come next week, there's over 16 million scripts that are being marked. It's a massive endeavour. And as you say, there will be the occasional time when a teacher will look at a script or a student will look at that and they'll not be certain. So first thing to do, request access to that script. So that's available free of charge from all of the exam boards. So you can look at the script, look and see how it's marked, see how the student did on that particular paper. So that's a really good first step. Obviously today, what we're looking at is students potentially wanting to move on to higher education. And so just as a reminder, I'm sure your listeners will know there's the priority review service. So So this year, the deadline for that priority review service is the 20th of August, so a week today. So if you've got a student that would like a review of marking and they're applying to university, request using the priority service. That means that the exam board will aim to get that review completed by the 3rd of September. That's the UCAS advisory deadline. So that means it's going to be kind of put at the front of the queue to make sure that student's in the best possible position to get their university route sorted. I guess my sort of broader point would be, for any students listening or parents, teachers, schools, colleges, as Mike has just described, they do an absolutely fantastic job of supporting students today. So if you've got any concerns at all, get advice, go talk to somebody at your school or college, get support.
Absolutely. And I suppose that brings us nicely on to what would you say is your final message? What would you like to leave us with?
Oh gosh, well, I think I'm going to say just a big thank you to any exams officers that might be listening. They are the unsung heroes of the qualification system. We really recognise the incredible work they do, managing a complex system, making sure that exams go smoothly, they're kept secure, that teachers and schools are supported. So from me, thank you to all the exams officers that have made today possible.
Thanks, Michael. That's really important recognition. And Mike, what's your leaving message for students today?
I mean, we've had some wonderful results to celebrate today, and I will just take a moment, if I can, to emphasise a couple of those results in particular. We've got a student who is off to study chemistry at St Andrews, and really he had his horizons opened by a summer school funded by the Sutton Trust up in Edinburgh University, where he felt that this moving away from home and experiencing the wider environment was something that was possible for him. He achieved really well, and is doing that. We've got a girl who joined us in Year 9 from South Africa, a very, very different educational system. She threw herself into the life of the school. She really feels that sense of belonging. She was a senior leader within the sixth form common room team. And she's off to do combined social sciences in Durham with, again, some stratospherically wonderful results. And for those young people, this is really a day to celebrate. And for all of our young people, one of the things that struck me was a former head teacher who I worked with used to say to students that the qualifications that you achieve are like keys on a key ring. And what he meant by that is that the more keys you have, the more doors you can open. And having the key doesn't mean to say that you have to walk through the door, but it does give you options and it does give you opportunities. And for all those students where perhaps either their results were as expected or perhaps not quite so, the keys of your results aren't the only keys that you have. You have your resilience, you have your tenacity, you have your ingenuity, you have your kindness, you have your personality, and all of those other things that open doors too. So today is a really important day for our young people to accrue more keys onto the key ring. And we just hope that with support from school leaders, from their parents and from their friends, that they choose to open the right doors. But it's a fabulous day, and it's been a pleasure to host you here today at Chase Terrace.
Thank you for having us.
Brilliant. We'll end on that positive, reassuring message to students. So huge thank you to Mike Donoghue and Michael Hanton for joining us today, and to everyone at Chase Terrace Academy for letting us join in with your results day. To every student who has collected results today, congratulations and good luck with your next steps. Until next time, I'm Jess.
And I'm Junaid.
Thanks for listening.